You are watching this video probably because your sink needs repair. And although I'm not an expert, I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Well, okay, cheesy joke, but you're here to fix this. Nice summer day. Would rather be outside playing, or in my case, needing to mow the lawn. Yes? Look at that grass, it's growing. And yet, my sink doesn't work. I cannot wash my hands. And you're watching because you have the same problem. Or maybe for you it's the middle of winter and you have nothing to do. But chances are you have guests coming over and you want to replace your sink. Well, this is how. You could at least try it. Essentially the problem lies within the collar here. And when you look at our sink, you figure, well, he needs to replace the entire sink anyway. And you're right, we are going to remodel the kitchen here in the next month. But right now it's not working, and it's Friday morning, and I need it working pronto. So you can stick a little tool in here and pull this thing off. Basically the problem is in the mechanism in here. It won't turn on, it won't shut off. So the first thing is, as you can see I have the water on, go underneath your sink, find the valve, and simply shut it off. And I say simply, but you know what? If your valve is really old, it's going to be all crusted on the inside. And you will not be able to simply just turn it off. You want to maintain these valves however you can to keep those from getting full of sediment and being unable to shut off. But I have successfully shut the water off. And now the next step is, you see this little hole? I'm going to use a bright light to help. See that little hole down there? I don't know if I'm aiming the camera right even. There's the handle, and there's that little hole. You basically just need an Allen wrench, or if you have a Delta faucet, you get a Delta tool. And you will basically put that in there. You got to make sure you get the right size. And of course I had it set to the side, measured up and all, but now I figured that I have the wrong size. There you go. Okay. So you get yourself an Allen wrench, and then also put stoppers in your sink before you start messing around with this stuff, because when you drop something, it does not go down the drain. That just makes you say certain words that you don't like to say normally. Well, maybe you do like to say them normally, or maybe you won't say certain words. But that's still no reason to drop something down the sink. So you just simply put the tool in there, loosen up the little screw that's in there, and pull the handle off. Your water is off, right? I hope so. By now you could do what I had, and as I disassembled this, I shot a fountain up and hit the light. You can probably see. That's a new light. I put that in. I'll show you how someday. Pull the collar off, and this is what you get. That's what's left inside of there. So far the parts are the handle with the little screw that you turned with your Allen wrench. If you don't have an Allen wrench, then you can't do the job. Or depending on the type of sink you have, you might need a different kind of tool. But I've been told a Delta sink requires a Delta tool. Ask for it at the hardware store. Call ahead and then you save yourself the gas. Here's the collar. That just simply slides off on this sink. And on my version, I have 3 screws. Once you get inside of here, you can see what it will take to get the rest of this out. I've seen other kinds where you use your Delta tool and it hangs on like this and twists off. Other kinds might have a washer or nut, a nut to turn with your pliers. So once you get in there, you can take a look, see maybe if you can fix it. They are designed to fix it yourself if you have the right tools. Or you can call an expensive plumber, which is what I did to get this junky sink. This thing is actually, this faucet is only less than 5 years old, and it's failed, and it looks like crud. And you know, he charged me about $400 for this thing. Yes, this is why I'm doing my own plumbing, and this is why I'm encouraging you to do your own. And there's always the disclaimer, you could have tons of water flushing the whole house. She always barks during my videos. I think she's attention seeking. Sadie, that is, hey, no bark. No, sit. We can cover dog training too. She's got her hackles up. No bark. Labs are nice. They're a great family dog, and they're moderately protective, but they don't usually attack unless they're provoked or taught wrong. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so we're going to get this next part out simply by taking, on my version here, on this brand, I would take a screwdriver and take that off. So let's do that, shall we? We can sing show tunes while we do this, like sinking ship type music to remind you of all the water that could be flooding your house if you do your plumbing wrong. Which then you may need to go ahead and hire a professional, but that will cost you. So it's always worth trying it on your own first. I shouldn't say it's always worth it. If you think you might screw something up, you're not willing to take that chance, then don't do it. Alright, the other symptoms of your sink may be that your faucet handle is chattering or not getting warm and cold and hot water mixed as you move the handle around appropriately. Basically, if it doesn't work correctly, you probably don't need to replace the entire sink. You need to replace, they call this the cartridge. Now the biggest challenge of this task for me is actually going to the store and seeing if they have this part, because my sink doesn't even say what brand it is. So I think it's basically a piece of junk given to me by my expensive plumber, my trusty plumber who I hired to come over here and put in a sink for me. Last time I'll do that, unless this thing fails. Of course, you could put in your own sink too. That's not that hard. You disassemble it from underneath. I'll show you that in a different video. But we're going to replace this. This is the part that makes all the magic happen. Let's show you in the sunlight. Cold and hot, or whatever. And then this is the mixed water that comes out your sink. Inside is the mechanism that makes the magic happen. And that's also the part that has failed. Here comes the inspector. She's going to see if I'm doing this correctly. She's smiling because she knows, she has confidence that I could fix this. And if she wants to fix it, all she'd have to do is watch my video. Okay, let's go get this part from the store. I have scored a success. I went to the store and it was a very easy part to buy. Basically went to Menards, you could go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and they'll have this part for you. It's an American Standard is what I have, I found out, and it's the exact same part. So we're just gonna fit that puppy in there, and for 13, well, with tax, I guess a state's gotta get part of it too. But with $13, you can get your sink working again. And it only, so far, has taken me about 7 minutes, partially because I was talking to you. When you go to get a part, absolutely, I've learned probably the hard way many times, bring the old one with you and just give it to the person working there, and if they know what they're doing and they're trained correctly for what the store that they're working for, you'd say, do you have this part? And they say, why, yes I do. And they go match it up on the countertop and get you all lined up. Probably the hardest part about this whole job is getting the package open. Yeah, these packages are not easy. Technically, this is called a washerless ceramic disc cartridge, one handle for kitchen and bath faucets. And this happens to be a 40 millimeter. Yay, we've gone metric. Didn't Carter say we were going to go metric? And now in 2013, about 40 years later, we're going metric on a few things. I still drove 2 miles to get there, so that ain't metric. I thought I'd also give you a close-up, because other videos don't show you this, of the part that you're trying to initially get. That was actually not the easiest. It's simply an Allen wrench that goes into this screw, and the trick is, without being able to see it, you got to guide that tool into the hole. No dirty jokes. And see how it fits in there? So let's see if I can do this. I have to hold my own camera with my teeth. Don't break your teeth. See that? And then it turns. And that's what makes it hang on to that top part right here. Other way. Yeah, there you go. I'm drooling on the camera. Okay, once you've done the hard work of getting the package off, you make sure these things are lined up. Get any residue and junk, gunk, whatever that's in there. Make sure that the seals are sitting on those. And then line up the screws and put the screws in. You can see that would line up with this hole right there. Okay, someone's gonna trim their lawn while I'm cooking or making a video, so we'll just simply shut the door. Hello, Sadie. Are you having a good time with your alligator? Your pet alligator? While you're doing this, if you want to have a little fun and probably do something that you really should do anyway, you can actually turn the water on with this assembly still off, and the hot should come out of that hot water hole, and the cold should come out of the cold water hole. Why would you do that? Well, to clean it out. I found that there was a lot of buildup and sediment, and this is only from about 5 years worth. So get in there, scrape it clear. You can see the brass in there, or the copper. It's not brass, I hope. Just basically get in there and clean it out. Get something in there that will fit, and get all that sediment and grit to break loose. Now, it's just sitting there, so you will want to carefully, not too much, turn that valve on. Maybe you shouldn't, but if you feel you can confidently get it turned off again, look at that come out. And I'm turning it up, and you can kind of test it too. Or just leave it like this and you'll have a drinking fountain. I have a drinking fountain. Maybe I should go tell my wife how exciting this is. The only problem with that is that it is warm. And you can also check your valve. I can see I have possibly a valve problem. See how, as I turn it on, it actually loses water pressure. But at least you're flushing out that part. So that was the hot water side. And you can see it worked out in my favor that the water was going the right direction and not down the sink onto the floor. Without having any tools in there, we're going to drain that out. That didn't taste so good. Okay, now let's go to the other side and do the cold water side. Again, you're checking your valve. You're seeing if it even turns on. You could have other problems like valve problems. Oh, look at that drinking fountain. Almost got the camera. Then I'd have to get a new camera. Drinking fountain. Nice and cold. Good and fresh. And you can see that valve works like a charm. The reason for doing this is not to get a drinking fountain, although that is fun. The reason for doing this is to clean out all that sediment before you put it all back together in here. You also will want to get a pliers and pull this piece off because there's a screen under there, and that screen will trap sediment that you broke loose by doing this job. And basically just put the part back on. Make sure it's seated correctly. You lightly turn in each of the screws, not all the way. Get them all equal so it's seated square on, or in this case round. You know what I mean. You hear my dog walking around. I'm not a plumber and I don't portray to be one. I'm just showing you how you can mess with your equipment in your own house and maybe save, oh, $500 in a matter of an hour. And that includes the drive to the store. Okay, get these on firm, but not too tight. Keep going back and forth because as it seats, it evens out. There we go. Put that collar back on. In this case, it just slides on. Get this to match. You see the notch in front. I would recommend you place the tool into that before you even slide it on there so that you don't have to try and figure it out. Get it nice and snug. Maybe even a little more than snug, but you don't want to break it. I don't think you'll break this screw, it's all metal. Now, there we go. Shut it off. Turn on the water valve. There's one side. You can see we're not leaking yet. Not spraying water all over. No water fountains. There, the water is pressured up. You're going to have some air in there potentially. The other thing you want to do is loosen this, the end with the screen on it. Loose enough to finger. Ooh, look at all that stuff. Perhaps that's why the sink isn't working. Let's rinse that out. You can actually take it apart, rinse all the parts. And I turn the water way down. You can see that that's the reason why part of this was a problem. In fact, I would recommend, if you don't get water to run out of your sink, this is a place to start, because there is a screen in there in most cases, and it's easily turned out by just simply putting a wrench to it, or pliers, and I just use basically one of these pocket devices. What are those called? Gerber. Now, how do you put it back together? I don't know. Oh, like that. See, there's the screen. There's the plastic part. And this actually filter might need to be replaced. Let's put it back in and try it. And it's threaded. It's wet and slippery, so there we go. You might want to back thread it just a bit just to get all the sediment out of there and get it to seat correctly. There, now let's see if it works. No. Yeah, it does. I just had air in the pipes. Try the hot. Wash your hands. Shut it off. Try the cold. Try all the ranges. This thing is just like brand new. I'm actually impressed that I can figure this out. I hate doing plumbing. I really do. And probably you do too, because when things go wrong, water sprays all over the universe, which is why you're watching this video. I don't guarantee water won't spray all over your universe, but it is not spraying all over my universe. Ooh, there's something in the garbage disposal. I'll have to make a video, show you how to fix that next. By the way, in your garbage disposal, did you know you can take this part out very easily so that you can see? I definitely recommend leaving it in there and seat it in there normally. But if you need to get your hand in there and find what's grinding around in there, in this case, it's probably, it shouldn't be a screw because I was careful about that. It's probably this piece of plastic. Or a couple popcorn seeds. Yep, that's what it is. Do not put popcorn seeds in your garbage disposal. I didn't do that, but my daughter did. tomorrow I'll show you a video on how to get your hand unstuck from the sink when it's stuck down the hole. It's actually very simple, just requires removal of your arm, or maybe just your hand at the wrist. Your sink is broken, or it's not running correctly, or it's dripping, and you think that there's something wrong inside the part that turns it on. Well, you can see with mine, it's not working.
Bright ball of fire in the sky.
What?
What is that bright ball of fire in the sky?
What bright ball of fire?
A bright ball of fire, what is it?
That is something that comes out in the summer, which Minnesota doesn't get. So it must be an unusual occurrence. Certainly we digress. Okay, so your sink is not working correctly and you want to try to fix it. This is why you're watching this video. You could hire a plumber and pay about $500 for him to put in a whole new sink mechanism, or you can spend less than 30-40 bucks and get the part that you need to go inside of this. You need a few tools like an Allen wrench and a screwdriver, and then you can disassemble. No, disassemble! Yes, disassemble and replace the part that's causing you the headaches and the drippage and the inability to turn your water on. I like to say that it's simple, but you know, I hate plumbing actually, but I also hate huge bills for replacing things that shouldn't have to be replaced yet, other than the internal part that is replaceable. That's why you can take it apart to put a new one in. It's designed for replacement. Just for a simple part like this. This is the part that failed. Not the whole sink, just this part. This is the part you need to go get and put it back in there. I will show you how.